boys," she said as they crossed a wide avenue ringed with trolley tracks. "There's the street," Will said. "Karoi Utsa. Number 647 should be on the left." He closed his map. They entered a serene residential street, empty except for parked cars and deeply shaded by maples and oaks, grand as any she'd seen back home in Massachusetts, limbs reaching high into the moist atmosphere. The trees offered a soft feeling of relief from the sharp-edged, intractable sun reflecting off the main boulevards. Leo bent his head back to take in the quilt of greenery overhead. His auburn curls matched Will's exactly, a coincidence that seemed more miracle than a stroke of fate. How else could she explain it, given that their son had come to them via an adoption agency in North Carolina? "Up, Dada!" Leo pointed to Will's map. "Map? That's right," Annie said. "Daddy needs to hold on to it." The 3-story brick building lacked classical architectural adornments. She guessed it to be late 1930s modernism. Old newspapers littered the entranceway, where a panel of buzzers listed residents' names. Annie stepped closer to the panel, scuffing a roll of newspapers out of the way, and rubbed her finger across the handwritten letters. Just as Rose said, "Here it is, number 2F, Rose and Joseph Szabó." From her hip pocket she unfolded the piece of thin fax paper. "Dear Annie and Will, we are concerned about the heat you are having. Please go to our flat, number 2F at 647 Karoi Utsa. A man named Edward Weiss is living there. Edward is in his 70s and not in good health. He has diabetes and a heart condition. We are worried about him." It was true. Temperatures had turned lethal these past weeks. The summer of 1995 was breaking records for the longest stretch of days over 90 degrees, according to Radio Free Europe, the station she listened to every morning since coming here 8 months ago. Already a dozen elderly had died. "More deaths expected, no end in sight," the announcer had warned in that Euro-British broadcaster's accent she'd grown accustomed to. "Ready?" Will said. He stood next to her, a good half-foot taller than she, blocking a ray of sun poking through the trees. He wore his usual summer attire, Madras shorts, collared shirt, tennis sneakers. "Wait, her instructions are very specific," Annie said. She reread them aloud. "This is important. You must not tell anyone that he is living there. We are trusting you. The buzzer to the apartment is broken, but the front door to the building will be open. It is never locked. Go to the 2nd floor, knock loudly. Tell him we sent you. He will not like this. Call right away if you find a problem. Hugs and kisses to Leo." Rose's handwritten consonants curled in the same Hungarian style of script Annie had seen on store receipts here. "It's odd. Rose never mentioned this Edward Weiss," she said. She hoisted Leo from the jogger to her hip. "I know. Let's go." Will easily lifted the aluminum baby jogger and carried it through the doorway. She loved entering buildings for the first time. She attributed this pleasure in part to her father, who owned a real estate company in Portland, Maine, where she grew up. He taught her that buildings were meant to be inspected, surveyed, and assessed. But for Annie, it was more than that. Unknown buildings held secrets, possibilities, surprises, a peek into other people's hidden lives. A center staircase greeted them. "There's an elevator," Will said, pointing to a dark corner behind the stairs. "Let's walk up." The open stairway turned 3 times around a shaft, shimmering with dust and sun from a skylight above. Leo grasped strands of her short hair. He tightened his plump legs around her waist, the sweat on his soft skin indistinguishable from hers. On the 2nd floor landing, they found the apartment midway down a dark hall, the last name Szabó on a tag beneath a peephole. She knocked, then looked into the peephole, but it was covered up and she could only see black. Leo reached out to touch it. They waited.